Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Your Spiritual Journey. This is Dr. Bob, and this is the space and the place where we talk about things important to your soul. So, as always, we ask you to like us, to subscribe, and maybe even support us on Patreon. All that helps keep us on the air. Today's guest is somebody I've known, I don't know, maybe for 30 years plus, quite a long time anyway. And I recently ran into her at a regional Edgar Cayce meeting, and I was able to nail her down to agree to be on the show. It's not the first time I asked her to do this, but it's the first time she said yes. So Karen Litzinger, and I'm going to read this from the back of her book, is a career counselor, professional speaker, an obsessive fan of daily inspiration books. She has coached thousands of clients, including through 20 years in her own business, Litzinger Career Counseling. Karen is a licensed professional counselor and certified career counselor and lives in Pittsburgh with her quirky dog, Georgia. So I know a lot about Karen, but I'm going to let her tell her story. And afterwards, I will ask her some questions based on her wonderful book. And I'll set it up for those of you watching on YouTube to view. But I'm going to turn the mic over to Karen to relate her spiritual journey from childhood until now.
All right. Well, I'm happy to be here, Bob. Sorry it took me a little long to get here. So just listening to your great podcast, it really made me think about it, as I'm sure a lot of people do. And you said from childhood. And really, I mean, the early end is I grew up Catholic, and my dad was very involved in leadership. I was mostly into it for the social part of it, I think. I mean, I was fine. I wasn't a questioning person. I was, helping with the Catholic Youth Organization and doing all that. And then, and even in say grad school, Michigan State was very, college was pretty liberal. And then it was when I came back to Pittsburgh that, so this would have been like the late 80s, and all the social controversies were going on. And I just realized I just can't be here. And so I just left everything. But soon after that, I did a trip to a friend, and she had one of the Hazelden meditation books. So I was like, I'm not doing this whole church thing or religion thing, but Hazelden Meditation, which is the 12-step program. Oh, yes. Hazelden Meditation. It's each day a new beginning. I still remember, and I had just moved from Ohio to Pittsburgh, and I opened it that day to this reading on letting go. I think it was March 21st. I still remember that. So I bought that book. It's, it's not personally I'm in the program, but I was like, oh, I love this. So I was reading it, and I'm like, well, it says higher power all throughout this. It's just higher power. So I'm like, okay, I got to take another look at this God thing, And so I asked the head of the Department of Religion, where I used to work at Wittenberg in Ohio, for a recommendation. I wanted to explore religions. And so he recommended the classic Religions of Man by Houston Smith. I still remember that little small paperback. Read it, loved Taoism, kind of I didn't follow it a lot, but that really resonated, probably because I need a little more laid back in me there. And so I think at some point I thought, I want to do some church shopping. And so I actually put it off a long time. And I actually never did. But what I did do is I worked at Carnegie Mellon at the time, university. And at lunch, I had my therapist appointment not too far away. And I walked there once a week. And I was going by the Unitarian Universalist Church. And they had these amazing quotes that I just loved. And my therapist I'm like, well, I want to make a chart. I want to like visit all these things. And I went in, he says, just go in. You can still do that. And I went in, I never left. So that was in 1987. Actually, I probably dated myself there, but anyhow, I have no problem with that. But the only thing was, it was a little too head oriented for me. I kind of felt like I was in a college lecture sometime. And so from Religions of Man, I read about unity, like a tiny brief paragraph about unity, you know them. And then, so I found them, loved them. They were almost a little too touchy-feely for me. You know, so I had contrast there. So I landed in the Unitarian Church, but I've actually visited unity on and off. As a matter of fact, like I just gave a church talk like last Sunday there. So about once a year, I do a church message, and I was a member for a while, sort of splitting, and it was almost too much to be in two churches. But the thing that I like, and I'm fine with the Unitarian Universalist Church, is because it really encourages true search for your own path. And there's always new ideas. And so I'm on the mystical end totally, you know, and I help really support sort of a spiritual group informally within my particular church is very informal, but really I've done, followed Course in Miracles, and I can't even remember creation, spirituality. Looking at all this and going back over it, I almost came full circle because I heard Matthew Fox the night before he was silenced by the Pope, author of Original Blessing. I had no idea he was a Dominican priest until he walked on. I just loved the magazine I picked up at St. Elmo's in South Side. And full circle too. I go regularly to the Benedictine monastery up in Erie on a silent hermitage retreat, a little cabin in the woods. And dreams are also a very big piece of my spirituality as well. And I think I'll stop there. But I did, you made me think about things. I was in the parking lot. I'm trying to write down all my even Joel Osteen. I listened to him, the Christian broadcaster. Okay. Yeah, I was doing physical therapy Saturday mornings. And I learned a lot about the Bible. And actually, I started to get pretty cool with Jesus doing miracles. It reminded me of Paramahansa Yogananda's autobiography of a yogi. So there's an eclectic view of my spiritual journey. How's that?
Well, you left something out.
Oh, I probably did. What did I leave out? I know.
Where did I just see you where you agreed to be on the podcast at an Edgar Cayce conference?
Yes, Edgar Cayce. I haven't been super involved in Edgar Cayce, but the ARE played a big role because when I saw this Jungian analyst, because, counselors are always doing therapy themselves. So he's like, do you dream? What are your dreams? I'm like, I don't dream, and so and lots of people say that, of course you dream. And it was soon after I was in Virginia Beach on vacation with a friend, and I went to the Association for Research and Enlightenment, and I got a little booklet on dreams, and I've followed that. And I remember my dreams prolifically. I mean, I have a lighted pen and a journal, and I'll write pages and pages in the middle of the night, 2 or 3 times a night.
So are you a lucid dreamer?
I don't, not lucid. Yeah. Oh. Interestingly, I was just at an Edgar Cayce No, it wasn't Edgar Cayce workshop because I was looking for something to do for one of the equinox celebrations, and it was through what the bleep ions group, what the bleep do you know, Institute for Noetic Sciences. And this person connected me with a local ARE chapter. And that person wrote me and said, hey, there's a dream workshop going on, not knowing I was a part of dream stuff. So synchronicity is a very big piece of my life. And I'm sure a lot of your watchers too.
Yeah. Okay, that covered a lot. Somehow you got to grad school, and somewhere in there you worked with somebody who was doing theology. What?
Oh.
And how did that happen? And what was that about?
Okay, that wasn't in grad school. So it was my first job. My reference earlier to the Department of Religion that I just said.
That one. Yeah.
Yes. So that was my first job out of graduate school at Wittenberg University, Lutheran Place. And I was associate director of career services there. And so it's a small place. So you just know everybody. So whenever I was in my existential, I want to learn about world religions, I emailed the department head and asked for the recommendation of a book.
Okay. All right. There's a lot there to try to pick apart before we get to your book.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So one thing that's connected us is that my daughter-in-law, Dominique, was just graduating from her studies and had a therapy practice she was thinking of beginning and touching on careers and career exploration. And she sent me a text, and I looked at that text again today just to see how long ago this was. And the interesting thing to me was that she sent me a picture of, I don't know if it was your website or, but she just said, do you know this person, this Karen Litzinger? And I said, well, funny you should ask. Yeah, we've known each other for a long time. And that was September of 2022.
That long ago. Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
So she asked me to introduce her to you because she just loved your approach and what you had to say, and she wanted to pick your brain before she started her own business, and she had decided to be an entrepreneur and just right out of school, just have her own business. So
she was great. Yeah, we were. I mean, first when I saw your name, I was like, of course I'll say yes. She asked for an information meeting. That's what career counselors say. Go talk to somebody, ask some questions and all. And I'm not sure. Well, maybe she was looking for a little bit more. I can't remember what we discussed, but I was happy just to do, maybe she asked for supervision. I don't know, but I was happy just to be sort of an informal mentor. And we've met about once a month or every other month for a while. And she's delightful. And I mean, at this stage in my life, I mean, in general, I hope that I'm generous, but at this stage of my life, I feel like I'd love to help people, and I'd love to send you clients whenever I retire, or whenever that might be.
Well, she's eternally grateful to you, and just you were a great mentor for her. So,
well, this is probably the time to mention you and I have this career counseling, coaching connection. I mean, that's how we met, right? Like we were trying to figure out exactly when that was.
Yeah.
Your past, your present past life, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, we were both in career development and workforce development, and I asked you to be on the board of Keys to Work, or Work Keys. And WorkKeys is still around.
That's great.
It's in a lot of high schools, and it's evolved as we have. We all evolve, hopefully. Okay, let's get down to why you felt the need to write a book, or what was it that said, all right, Karen, you got to put this stuff in writing.
Yes. Well, I really didn't have a need to write a book. Don't like to write, although people say I'm a very good writer. I did actually, this is something we didn't even talk about, but I don't want to get too into it, but I actually did write a pet loss CD and produce that with music and guided meditation. And it was quite spiritual and psychological too. And that's another story, which I don't really want to focus on. But this particular piece came to me in the middle of a meditation at a Transcendental Meditation retreat, as a matter of fact. And Transcendental meditation, you don't try to have anything happen. It's all effortless, and you're just tapping into the, common creative unconscious or whatever. It's all called different things. But it was so strong. I can't even remember, maybe 2 or 3 times I got up during meditation and I wrote things down. And so it was really, because it came to me A to Z, just like the title said. Help wanted, didn't remember it, an A to Z guide to cope with the ups and downs of the job search. And so I don't think I was thinking about it. I was there at a meditation journey, and I wasn't even trying to, solve a problem. But I had an email from a past client who was struggling in his job search. So more of my work is the career goal piece. So what do I want to be when you grow up, that I do, nationwide. But this particular person was talented, master's degree graduate from Carnegie Mellon, had some barriers. We worked on the basic kinds of things. He was continuing his path. I sent out my monthly email, and this person wrote back and said, "Do you have any words of hope? Because this is and I was thinking, as most career counselors do, even though I'm a licensed professional counselor, I just do career counseling. I don't have that much, I'm more of a strategy, kind of person. So I looked online and I was trying to find some things to be able to send him about career inspiration and hope. And I just wasn't finding anything. I think I found just a couple generic quotes on hope, and I sent them. So I think that must have been bubbling inside of me before that meditation, even though I wasn't looking for it. So I felt like that was given to me. That this, I got this mission given to me. That's why I wrote the book. I didn't necessarily plan to or want to, but that's where it came from.
So one of the things that stood out to me was the design. That on the facing page, where you have a quote, you have this, I don't know what I'd call it, radial lines that just radiate out from the quote. And then on the cover, you use that same design. And just looking at that background with a quote in the foreground is inspiring. It's you can feel the energy of hope coming from it. And I just wondered if that was also part of your download during the meditation, or where that came from, because I was intrigued by it and thought, wow, she's even got the design down here.
It's very interesting. Well, I can't take credit for that exact design at all. It's a graphic designer I work with. But the concept of having a quote with some design on one page for that topic, whether it's persistence or resilience or loss, and then the inspirational reading on the other side, that was kind of the design. And actually, I think I was reading a Louise Hay book at the time.
Oh,
But
okay.
what all of it was motivated me from were all these daily meditation books that I read. And I have stacks of them. I give them for gifts, like that Hazelden meditation. I
Yeah.
just sent one to my granddaughter, meditations for pregnancy. There's meditations for widows. And so I just, like, this has been my life for decades. And
Yeah.
so I knew it was going to be more or less in that format. But that design I loved. I mean, that was the first one she gave me, and I loved it. But there was actually a problem with it when I got it printed, because the standard printing from Ingram Books for self-publishing through Ingram Spark is a certain pound of weight. And when I got the sample, I didn't like it, because you could see the words through the beautiful radiating design. So I chose to have thicker paper and paid for color printing just so I could get thicker paper. So that design was appropriate and pretty.
Yeah.
Anyhow, since you like the design, I mentioned the quirky little.
Well, it was worth the investment.
I thought so.
I thought so too. So let's talk about the design and what's on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side, and how you determined how you wanted to put that together, or was that in cooperation with the graphic designer, or you set that up yourself?
No, that was really, the plan. I mean, I knew I wanted a quote, a reading, and an affirmation. And that's the core that I knew. And then most of the meditation books I have the quote at the top and the reading, and the affirmations bottom. There are many that are set up that way. I wasn't one of the first. I'm the only one that has anything that deals with career. I mean, there's nothing like this, out there. One of a few awards. You probably saw that. I can't even remember what they were, but no, that's really how I set it up. And the quote to be inspirational, and then the reading to be relevant, so it's not about job search strategy at all. It's about the emotions of the search, whether it's the negatives like fear or rejection, or the positives like hope and resilience. And so it normalizes people's struggle and emotion, and then gives some emotional coping tips, and then ends with a positive I affirmation. So it's rooted in sort of, which we could talk about, the self-talk, which like goes over to, manifesting and positive thinking in the spiritual realm, underground spirituality.
Underground spirituality.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as I read through it, I obviously picked up on the underground spirituality and just thought, okay, this is a lot more than a book for people who are looking for jobs. However, it seems to me that if I ran a school, I would want every graduate to have this book, whether it's a high school or a university, because they're going out into the world. They're going to be looking for a job at some point, hopefully. And you get to the core of what that's about. And again, not strategy, but how to cope emotionally with what that's all about. So what is it? And I guess there's something that you touched on, that a client came to you with a question about, where can I find hope, or where can I find some encouragement? So from that point on, after his question and then your meditation, have you changed how you do career counseling?
Not exactly. I'm trying to think because I think I've always had, which related to this, one of the reflective questions that I ask clients in a little worksheet after we've
Mhm.
done whatever, more of the career goal question piece is what fears or obstacles they might be experiencing.
Okay.
And so I often move into that space of reframing it, which is related to the affirmation
Mhm.
statement process that's in the book, because people can have whatever negative barrier and self talk that we all have, but to try to look at that. Um, in a different way. It actually connects a lot to Abraham and Esther Hicks, Jerry, I forget their
Okay.
names. You know who I'm talking about, right, right, right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's cognitive psychology, right, which is reframing.
Uh,
So that's a standard psychological theory, cognitive psychology. So I was doing that because I fell in love with cognitive psychology in my um, grad school because I'm a pretty practical sort of counselor. So the reframing of how you think affecting. So it's basically that our thoughts affect our emotions, which affect our behavior. Classic
mhm.
cognitive psychology. It's
Yeah.
also related to manifesting, right? If you're saying, I'm never going to get a job, or, the world's against me, or whatever it
Yeah.
is,
Right.
then you're going to manifest that. So, whichever way you look at it, it's all related in my
Yeah.
mind. And so I always have us, and it comes up not just at the end, at different times, have people look at that and examine that and what is. Um, what's the truth there? So
Yeah.
if they're being negative, like, oh, remember you had positive performance appraisals or whatever you might have said. Yeah. Or you had an interview, or if you had one interview, it could happen again. And so not Pollyanna though, because when I have them
Yeah.
reframe, and I
Mhm.
understand there's a lot of I ams that are out there, philosophy,
Yeah.
spiritually, philosophy, but I'm very much into, which is Abraham, believable. It's believable reframing. And Esther, and Abraham will say, do you believe that? So they do the reframing. Do you believe that? And so so Abraham has really helped me in my career counseling practice, even though I was doing it before.
Okay. Now, a portion of my audience has heard of
Oh,
Esther Hicks and Abraham, but for that portion who have not, would you explain a little bit about
sure.
all that and the power
Sure.
of attraction?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Power of attraction too. Oh boy, pick an order. Okay. So I'm gonna let you talk about power of attraction. Let me just do the Abraham thing.
Okay.
So Abraham is someone who Esther Hicks channels. And so channeling is when someone on this sort of plane of the earth uh, has messages that come
Mhm.
through, and they're a vehicle for that. And that, if people have heard of more popularly Course in Miracles, I do believe that that was also channeled. And so I remember the first time I heard channeling, I was like, whoa. And it was connected to the Association of Research and Enlightenment. That same trip to
Okay.
Virginia in the ARE bookstore, I was looking for something similar to another book I had. And the bookstore person gave me one. I get to the campground, I open it up, and the introduction said, this is a channeled book. If you've never heard of that, don't let it freak you out. Just sort of see if the message is helpful to you. So that's how I would say to your viewers to think about channeling. And so Abraham is channeled through Esther Hicks. And I've listened, I don't know, a decade or two to that.
Uh-huh.
You want to take power of
Okay.
attraction. It's so big. I just explained channeling.
Okay. Well, the power of attraction is basically you attract what you put out. So if you put out negativity, you're going to attract negativity. And it's just sort of a loop that reinforces what what you represent yourself as. So in order to break that negative loop, you've got to start to become aware of when you're putting out that negativity and turn that into a positive. And it's a little tricky at first, and it takes some self-discipline and training. But after a while, you start to catch it immediately when you go, oh, no, that person in the mirror isn't ugly. They're pretty good looking. Or look at those features, or those wrinkles or character lines, or however you want to flip that to make sure that it's a positive statement. And the more positive you are, the more positive people you attract to you, the more positive thoughts are attracted, and the more positive things happen. So that's basically the power of attraction. And Esther Hicks and Abraham focus on that a lot. And let people know. When I say let people know, she frequently does presentations in front of large audiences when she channels Abraham. And she's even, I think, done, major cruises.
Yeah. No, I know.
All kinds of things. But if you're interested in her audience, just plug in Abraham and Esther Hicks on YouTube, and you will get hundreds of things to look at that are very enlightening and very useful.
It's actually a career CD too, because I ordered some of the CDs in abundance, health. I'm not promoting them, but I was borrowing CDs from somebody, and they were like the cruises. I'm like, what's so random here, And so I got the series. But again, I feel like this is very in line with cognitive. I mean, not very in line. I'm sure some cognitive psychologists would be like, don't link those. But I see cognitive psychology being so related to manifesting and Abraham, manifesting and power of attraction, because it's our thoughts affect our feelings, which affect our actions. So our thoughts are connected to what occurs, basically.
And a basic tenet of Edgar Cayce's work is thoughts are things.
Yeah.
And so watch your thoughts, audience, because they create your life and your world.
Yeah. Yes.
So, okay. So there's just a ton of, I guess, inspirational thoughts in this book. And do you credit that particular meditation with a lot of what's in the book, or did it sort of get you started on this path and then you followed this format through to the end?
Oh, yeah. No, I had all of that. So who knows, where that all comes from, but it was a flash. So I feel like it came from universe and came in meditation. But no, all pieces of those were me. I think that's why nothing like this has ever been written, because I've been a lifetime daily meditation reader since that first book in 1985, giving books out, searching them for every single topic. I actually had a big stack of them at my book launch party. Yeah. So that is really unique. Me being a career counselor is really unique, and me very much being into cognitive psychology and spirituality, including manifesting. I think those four things were already a part of who I am. And this just wove them all together in this really, that's why I'm like, oh, this is why nothing exists. It's like Karen's these four things, and I could just put them all in there.
Yeah. Okay. And I noticed from your book that you weren't stuck with one concept per letter of the alphabet. If there were two H's, then both concepts got in there.
Well, really, my plan was 2 for each,
Oh,
so yeah,
okay.
because otherwise it'd be a teeny tiny book. So
Yeah.
there's 52, or I don't know what's in there. Maybe I only did 1 for Z or 1 for X or something like that. And I think that I have 3 for R because I wrote them very gradually. So it was renewal, resilience, and rejection, right? So I
Oh,
think I
yeah.
had already written renewal around springtime, and I loved my renewal one so much that rejection needed to be in there. And I think resilience needed to be, I just couldn't give up one.
Okay. So these affirmations in the book, I find very useful, but I'm curious to know, do you have a personal affirmation that you use on an ongoing basis?
Oh my gosh, this is like so exciting. It was one of the many things I didn't write in my spiritual journey. Like I keep thinking of them as you're talking, and there was another big one that I already forgot about. But affirmations are huge. And Louise Hay is a big person with affirmations that I follow. And I forget the name of her book, but it's like so big, I can't even remember all the different things. So maybe I started with Louise Hay. And so each morning after I meditate, I
Mhm.
look in the mirror and I
Yeah.
say, I love you, Karen. I love you, Karen. I love you, Karen. I love life and life loves me back. So that's the super regular one.
Okay.
And then I actually have been doing, I've an affirmation journal since 2019. And I was doing some things before that. And it was at Unity Church. I attended some workshop and maybe there was some affirmation talk. And so I came back and I did all these affirmations for this like public speaking gig that I was kind of nervous about, that was like about technical etiquette or something. And I felt like it really worked. And so in 2019, I started a self-designed abundance program for myself. And abundance is one of my struggles. And so the scarcity mentality of growing up, et cetera, depression era parents. And I knew there were some things that existed, but I looked at different things. I decided, no, I'm going to choose this. I'm creating this, read this, do this. And so I started writing daily affirmations then. And so this might've been Louise Hay said, write them multiple times. She maybe said, write a full page. So, but I just do a half page. And then, so I did that. And then COVID hit. And so at some point, just dealing with life was the theme of my affirmations, not so much abundance. And I've continued it since then. So every morning I do that. And so I don't even try to remember it. I mean, I know you can do that. I just write it, and then I write it on an affirmation card, and then I put it in my phone. And yeah, so it's been great.
Okay. And that's a daily practice.
Yes.
Okay. I've started doing affirmations as I'm falling asleep because one author that I read suggested that you can program your subconscious. And I thought, that's a very interesting concept, to program your subconscious to work for you while you're sleeping.
Yes. Yes.
And so I say every cell in my body is renewing, restoring, and regenerating as I sleep.
Nice. Yes.
And it gives my cells instruction as to what they should be doing while I'm sleeping. And I don't know. You don't know what works and what doesn't work, but it feels good.
That's great. I mean, I love that.
Yeah.
And you know what it reminds me of? So this was probably late 80s, CDs or videos of
Hmm.
subliminal kinds of things that you
Yeah.
listen to. And a lot of them were before you went to bed
Yeah.
to bring messages in,
Right.
kind of along those lines, but yours is so much more personal. And I like the succinctness of that. You know, you've got
Hmm.
a message
Right.
that you say nightly, and I think
I
that's
just
really
realized it was 3 R's, just like not the same 3 R's in your
right.
book, but
Right.
the three
Interesting.
R's.
Yeah.
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 Well, there's an interesting thing that happened with me recently. I went to a presentation at Lilydale. Have you been to
Yeah.
Lilydale?
Oh, yeah. I wrote that down in my many, many things I'm forgetting to say.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Tell me about
Since
you.
every year, almost every year since the early 90s at
Oh,
Lilydale. Yes.
okay.
It's,
So what do you do when you go there?
well, now I just hang out. Actually, I have I think I said, right? So I've got this little, like, more spiritual group that's informal in my Unitarian Universalist church. So
Hmm.
I've gone, someone introduced me to it, a long time friend and a long time ago friend. And then that's kind of when I went. And then I was talking about it, and my Unitarian friend really wanted to go. So I took her. And then then more of us went. So like last year we had, I think, 5 or 6 of us go for 3 days
That
up in
sounds like a
Lilydale.
pilgrimage.
No, it's a girlfriend's vacation. I was
Oh,
thinking
okay.
about this. I'm like, you know what? People go to the beach yearly with
Mhm.
their buddies, but I go to Lilydale to the same place. So I love it. So it's totally unstructured. We go to the open message services. So
Sure.
spiritualism, for the folks who don't know, and all
Yeah.
about it, is really grounded that there's more to the everything than what we see in this life, and the way that they practice that and demonstrate that is to receive messages from the other side, from deceased people, to as that's their spiritual practice. And so
Right.
those are the things I did go to other things: animal communication, making a drum out of deer skin,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That brings up another topic, and I'll get back to Lilydale in a minute. But uh, when you talked about going to those open readings, and what we're talking about, audience, is at Lilydale, they have an auditorium, and you can sit in the auditorium.
And outside, beautiful space in the forest.
Yeah, that too.
That's the only place I go. I don't like the auditorium. I don't go there.
Oh, okay. And the mediums there, or mediums in training,
Mhm, mhm.
will bring in the spirits, and then and this is called evidential mediumship. They bring in evidence of the person who is wanting to communicate, and the person in the audience who is connected to that person might stand up or raise their hand and say, "Oh yeah, that's my Uncle John," or "That's my father," or "That's my deceased mother," and then they get the message. Uh,
Or the other way, where they go to the person because they got their message.
oh,
May I come to you? Which is actually even more specific. That feels like
yeah.
real.
And well, I was about to go there because I uh, recently worked with uh, a group from the Spiritualist Church
Mhm.
who meet online every Monday morning from 9 to 10:30, and they have one sitter. So I got to sit, and the mediums in who are present on Zoom
Mhm.
bring in whatever spirits want to connect at that point. And that was very interesting. And I'm actually going to interview the person who runs that group next week.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't go into that because there's going to be a whole episode about it.
Right.
But I've found that, it's that same process, I guess, and procedure. The only thing I found interesting is that this group of mediums that meet on Zoom don't charge ever
Okay.
for what they do.
Ever. How do they make a living then? Ever, because
Well,
you can't earn a living from books. I know that.
At their regular jobs. I mean,
Oh,
they're
so
just
this-
not just mediums.
Okay.
They do other things.
So they have a
in
job
life.
and this is their
Yeah.
other thing. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, like artists.
Yeah. Well,
A lot of artists. Because I was,
Yeah.
in career counseling, I saw a lot of artists where you've got your day job
Yeah.
and your other job.
So I was recently at Lilydale for the specific purpose of going to listen to Suzanne Giesemann.
I just learned about her. I'd never heard of her, but someone just gave me her name like 3 months ago.
Okay. Did you do any research on her yet?
She told me, my friend, wasn't she a pilot in the military?
She was a naval commander.
Yes.
She rose to the ranks of commander.
Yes.
And then was an aide to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Yes.
I mean, you can't get any higher than that.
Yes. Yes.
So that was her mindset before she became a medium, which is very straightforward, scientific, no nonsense.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Go
Well, and you,
ahead.
like, I don't know all of it. I know this tidbit of like how she kind of got introduced to the rest of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Her daughter-in-law, or no, her stepdaughter, who was pregnant at the time, was struck and killed by lightning.
Oh, that's not what I heard, but that's really interesting. Wow.
And during the viewing, when she looked in the casket, she said, "That's not my stepdaughter. My stepdaughter, that's her body, but she's not in there."
Okay. Okay. Wow.
So then she and her husband went to a medium to try to connect with whoever used to be in that body and was able to connect. And that got her interested in being a medium herself when she realized how much that helped with her grief.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Anyway, so she was up there promoting Wolf's message, which is a message from someone who she connects with because his parents went to her because their son was struck and killed by lightning.
Oh, wow.
So they knew that she would understand their grief and their
Yes.
process.
Wow.
Anyway.
So many interesting things,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Right.
This universe that we inhabit at the moment.
Yeah. So I was also there to meet with a friend who's going to co-lead a retreat with me to Bali.
Oh, yes, you mentioned that.
Yeah. So we're pretty excited about that. And audience, you can find out more about that retreat by going to the website, yourspiritualjourneypodcast.com. And there will be a link from the tab that says Bali to tell you all about it. Just thought I'd slip that in there.
I mean, we talked about it. I'm going to be away right before I would go. It was pretty exciting to think of all that combination of things.
Yeah, we're excited about doing it. Okay, we are looking at, I just want to make sure that I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. These daily inspiration books that you're so obsessive about,
Mm-hmm.
do you have a favorite?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, this isn't a daily inspiration book. It's more of a daily prayer book. So every morning I have 3.
Okay.
And they're not like all of that genre. So there's a like 365 Buddhist one because my sweetheart is Buddhist. And then I do love Melody Beatty. So her book is Journey to the Heart, I believe. It's not exactly in that format. She's more of a storyteller, but it's, something each day.
Yeah.
And then I do have a Course in Miracles one that I can't remember the name of it, but I do like it. And then, but my favorite I probably am most consistent with, which is like affirmations and prayer, is Daily Word that Unity puts out. It's just a short page, again, with an affirmation at the top, the reading, and then it actually has a little Bible thing at the bottom, which is interesting. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
Are you familiar with Mark Nepo?
Oh, yeah. Yes, yes. I mean, not a lot, but I think I've probably heard a podcast somewhere, and
he has a good daily book.
Okay,
it's called Awakening, or Awakenings.
Okay. I'll check that out.
I would recommend that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was one of my other questions. And maybe a final question before I hit you with the big one.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
So 2023 is when you published this book.
It was 23 or... Oh, it was 23? I thought it was
That's the
22.
copyright on it.
Oh, it is?
Anyway.
Okay.
You're probably working it all through 2022, but I've had quite a few guests who talk about the influence of COVID on their writing. Now, you made some mention to it, that you were going down one path and then COVID hit, and it sort of changed things for you.
Yes.
So could you talk a little bit about the influence of COVID on what happened during that time period for you and what that meant to you?
About the book or about anything?
Just about anything.
Well, let me start with the book, because as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, I have a really specific thing with that. So I will share that this book took a long time to write for me, and it was on and off and inspired different times. So it was 7 years. I used to be embarrassed to say that until at my book launch, when I said it took 7 years, someone came up to me and said, Karen, it was really inspiring that you said it took 7 years to write you, because I'm thinking about this book that I want to write, and I feel like it's been too long. And so that was kind of cute. But so my writing, because I just cannot write at my house. So I would go away to retreats and bed and breakfasts, and did most of my writing there, and a coffee shop that I really liked in my neighborhood. And then when COVID hit, and none of those places were available, coffee shop, etc. So I turned part of my dance room into a coffee shop, and I put little lace curtains up and a lace tablecloth and twinkly lights around the windows. And so it was kind of fun so I've had some positive things that came out of COVID, and that would be one. And the other, well, creativity, lots of creativity. Like, I need money. How can I figure out a way to get money when everything is shutting down? I mean, it's an entrepreneur. I'm single, and it was a little scary. I've lived through recessions before, and it goes down. People think, oh, everyone needs job help. Well, no one has money, a lot of times then. And so I got all creative, and this all ended on a positive story. So someone said, oh, go on, I don't know, it's Facebook or YouTube, I can't even remember, and do creative videos. So I did this coping with job stuff through COVID, and I had props and all this crazy stuff. I brought coping, taking care of yourself. And then I brought my dog in at the end, which was funny, but turns out someone whom I knew just slightly through an interaction at my church, saw that YouTube video, and he reached out to me to see if I want to go for a walk in the woods. And so we've been together since.
Oh.
So I actually, and I would not have had that happen if it wasn't for COVID.
Right.
In that way, at least.
Yeah. Well, another positive COVID story. I've heard quite a few. They're all original. That was very original. Yeah. So the quirky dog.
Yes. Yes. Georgie.
What's so quirky about your dog?
So he came to me on Prozac with anxiety and pancreatitis. So he's a little bit of a special needs doggy. And I didn't go seek him as some people are able to go seek those little doggies, but really I felt like it was a synchronicity. He was sort of meant to be mine. My last 3 dogs were kind of like that. And so we did meet and greets at my place. It was a neighbor's brother who was looking for a home because they just had a baby. Yeah. And he wasn't doing so well, with that just shivering and shaking. Okay. And so, yeah, but he's a great dog. But, he, as my sweetheart would say, he's the best dog. And I say, an asterisk is once you get to know him, he's a big barker and all.
Yeah, sure. A dance room.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Tell me about your dance room. What happens there?
I dance. And actually, it's so funny. I'm like, that was another thing that was on my spiritual list here because I actually have done liturgical dance and workshops, and I co-created the first version of Let's Move at my Unitarian Church. And I'm currently in the second iteration of a dance choir in my church. So, but dance has always been, I did it when I was like a little kid. My mom had me go, which was good. And I love it. And so I guess I rediscovered it after graduate school. And I was telling my then therapist, I love to just dance, in my apartment all the time, and he said, the local dance studio welcomes people of all backgrounds and all whatever. Why don't you do that? So I did that. Jazz ballet, but then I went to Omega Institute of Holistic Studies, which I'm sure you've heard of, another one of those. No?
Yes, I keep hearing about it.
Okay, so I went
at some point I've got to do this.
In the early 90s to this program called Inquiry into Movement. And so it made all my dance just more open, and I wasn't going to do ballet and jazz, just my own thing. Yeah. So I think it was for my 40th birthday that my past sweetheart, I think I must have asked for a dance floor in the really one open, unused bedroom. Yeah. And I've got, dance floor mirrors, etc. I dance every day. I'm not now because Georgie got a little injury, so I'm trying not to go up and down the steps. So I do my meditation and dance downstairs. But pretty much after my transcendental meditation in my meditation room, I go next door to my dance room and danced just 2 or 3 dances. And then, but I also... dance is big. So I organized for my 55th birthday a dance party in my house. So I actually have dance parties. I'm going dancing tomorrow night too. Oh, yeah. But more fun.
Do you do that?
I don't do, I've done couples dancing. I'm less structured. So Fox Chapel, Baja Grill, Old Yacht Club area there. Outdoors. It's so nice.
Yeah.
Hope it doesn't rain.
Supposed to.
I know. Only 20%. I looked at the hours. We have a chance. Yeah. Yeah. The evidence, if not.
A chance to dance.
Yeah. There you go. We're dancing no matter what. It's just going to be inside or outside, unknown.
Well, it must have been kind of fun to be at that ARE meeting where we connected again.
Yes.
And to have Ed Foote talk about his spiritual dance stuff. I've had him on the podcast, and he's discussed that. Yeah,
no, I love it. Creation spirituality and Matthew Fox, we would do body prayer every morning at Omega Institute. So I went a week-long program then. And I also did, on my topic of my work, career counseling, he wrote a book on spirituality and work. And I did a week-long conference on spirituality and work at Omega Institute too. So Anyhow, all kind of interesting stuff we can do, it's
Well,
endless.
you're just such an interesting character.
Character, yeah, that's my family would probably call me.
Well, okay, we are out of time. But before we go, you get to leave the audience with a few words of wisdom.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
I allow every guest to do that.
And
And the book's full of them.
yes. So that's interesting. So I didn't listen to an end of a podcast to be ready for this. Bad
Okay.
Karen.
Do you want to read from your book?
No.
Okay.
I mean, the words of wisdom, I guess that we have the opportunity to create our own lives with our own attitudes and thoughts and words, and to ask for guidance from whatever that is, your still small voice, if that's for you, intuition, God, all of that, and to be grateful. I hosted a World Gratitude Day event for a number of years, so that's another piece of my, and it's everywhere. It was nowhere when I was starting some of that. So and be grateful for people like this and opportunities and ongoing learning. So that's I guess what I'd share.
That's what you got.
That's what I got.
Well, audience, as always, take what you've heard and integrate into your life what resonates with you and put the rest on a shelf until you're ready to deal with it. And until next time, this has been your spiritual journey.